Hey, what's going on, you guys? And welcome back to another episode with Trek. Shout out to everybody that's tapped in, man. We are back with another one, just like the other one. Got a handful of interesting and creepy videos, man, for us to go ahead and evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button on your way in there, and let's get straight to it.
Every country will have AIs or multiple AIs, and there will be a lot of robots.
There'll be a lot of robots, but we had
way more robots than people.
Prediction on the number of robots by 2040, humanoid robots to be specific. What order of magnitude?
By 2040.
Yeah.
I think if you say like 2040, probably there are more humanoid robots than there are people.
So on the order of 10
I'd
billion.
say,
yeah.
Yes.
And your price point on these humanoid robots?
Once you get out to 2040, that's a long time from now. Over 25 years, there'll be at least 10 billion humanoid robots.
And price point?
Yeah, the price point will be, I think, quite low. Probably $25,000 for a robot that can do anything.
Look how advanced these robots out of China are at the moment. They've just taught them advanced kung fu and martial arts. They're focusing on fluid movement, and this is the best I've seen so far. Like, look how well this thing moves, jumping, doing flips in the air. It's just everything. It's the most advanced kung fu I've seen in a robot so far. These things are scary, but also, is it a good idea to teach these robots kung fu?
It was already kind of worrisome that these robots are going to have AGI, right? Which are going to make them smarter than any human that they come in contact with. But now they're teaching them kung fu. Because at that point, I'm sure we'll see clusters of them taking over blocks. Like literally, just for kung fu.
Did you know that Michael Jordan's mother put salt in his shoes every single night? She would put salt in his shoes every single night and say a prayer over him for him to get taller, because he was tired of losing to all of the boys that he used to play basketball with when he was a kid, with his older brothers. She wrote a book about it. I own the book. My son loves the book. I'll show you. Salt in His Shoes by Dolores Jordan. He's like, goes home crying because he lost the basketball game that he was playing with his older brothers, and his mom comes up with this idea, and she says, we'll put salt in your shoes every single night and we'll say a prayer for you to get taller. Do you know what salt is in witchcraft, in spell work? It's protection. I think it worked, and you should try it too.
So Michael Jordan's mom was doing full-on witchcraft, huh? It makes a lot of sense, though.
Did you guys know that if a zombie apocalypse were to happen, it wouldn't be like the movies? It would actually most likely be like the TV series The Last of Us, which is inspired by real science. In the show, the outbreak spreads by like a fungus attacking like the brain and controlling the brain and the body. But here's the really creepy part. The fungus called cordyceps, I think I said that right, is actually a real thing that attacks bugs. Like, I don't know if you've seen like those weird videos of like the bugs like acting weird. Yeah, guys, that's exactly what it is, and it still exists. I mean, it already exists. It rewires their behavior, forces them to climb, and like I think it spreads through like spores or something like that. Scientists say that humans can be infected by this like this right now, but mutations are always possible, so let's keep that in mind. So technically, if a zombie apocalypse ever existed, it wouldn't be magic, it would actually be biology. And if you watch the show The Last of Us, you already know what I'm talking about. Honestly, go to that show, by the way. Although I do think like the actors could have been a little better, that's my opinion, but that's like something else. What do you guys think, and do you guys think you would survive this infection? Or this apocalypse, you know?
This is going to shock you. The heart has an electromagnetic field of approximately 6 feet. That is 3 feet in radius. No wonder that we pick up on different vibes with different people.
When I seen that the United States government ran a program to monitor beings that had hybrid DNA, they following these bloodlines. It always track back down to these bloodlines while people feel like they have.
Is it the 13 families?
Right.
The Rockefeller, Orsini, Rothschild.
So you seen Donald Trump said the next generation of, I'm not Trump, Putin said the next generation of Russian babies will not have Rothschild chains on their legs. The one Rothschild dude had 8 heart transplants. Where do you think he getting them hearts from?
He had 8.
He had 8 heart transplants before he died.
So someone, David Rockefeller as well, I think had like 3 or 4.
Come on, man.
Like 3 or 4.
The wait list is supposed to be years.
We are living in some really weird times right now. Just looking at the news, an MIT nuclear professor was shot and killed in his own home. This wasn't your average scientist either. This guy led MIT's Plasma and Fusion Center. He was a leading plasma physicist coming from Portugal, and he was recognized by some of the top scientists in all of the world. And this is really odd because scientists and professors don't just get shot in their home. And obviously, the killer is on the run. And speaking of killers on the run, the Brown University shooter is also on the run, and we got an update. Don't worry. Here's a picture of the law enforcement, or a video of them doing some type of strategy to find the killer, maybe the footsteps or something that he dropped. I mean, this is going viral on social media for obvious reasons. What are we doing? It's almost 2026, and this is what you're doing. At least do it when no one's looking. Like, you're just embarrassing yourself. It's been 3 days since a killer shot up one of the top universities in all of the country, and this is what we get. A very blurry picture of a guy dressed up in all black and a beanie, and you're showing us your search tactics. Also, here's footage of the alleged killer walking right past law enforcement after he did it. I mean, if we get more updates, I'll keep you guys updated, but things aren't looking too good.
Flat Earthers, how do you explain this when this is a 12-hour time-lapsed video of the Earth spinning as the camera stays perfectly still, and you can actually see the movement and the rotation of the Earth? How do you explain that? Checkmate.
The CIA taught me this. If someone suddenly wants to be your friend with no clear reason, pause and ask yourself what they want. Access to your network, your information, or leverage they can use later. Real friendships build slowly. Instant intimacy is always transactional. Protect yourself.
Hey, if you read between the lines on that one, he was giving a whole lot of game, man.
What skills make a good agent? You might be surprised by the answer, actually. The CIA, when it recruits spies, when it recruits operations officers, doesn't necessarily look for the big, buff guy who works out, every day or 6 days a week. They look for people who have sociopathic tendencies, not sociopaths. Sociopaths are impossible to control because they have no conscience. They blow right through a polygraph exam, but they won't take orders. People who have sociopathic tendencies do react to a polygraph. They do experience regret or remorse. They will respond to directives and orders. I'll give you an example. When I first was recruited by the CIA, I was asked in a group of new hires what we would do if we got a cable from CIA headquarters ordering us to collect information on the Indonesian economy. You recruit the Indonesian economic secretary, you make him your best friend, you spend money on him, your wives become friends, you vacation together, but you learn that he is just not recruitable. So what do? Well, one of my colleagues said, you double down, work the case another 6 months, and hope for the best. A second colleague said, maybe you work it through your wives, maybe your wife can convince his wife to give you the information. I raised my hand and I said, you break into the Indonesian embassy and you steal it. And the instructor said, that's exactly what you do. That's a sociopathic tendency.
So we have a ton of celebrities dying back to back in a short amount of time. What is going on? Now, we've had a multitude of high-profile, legendary actors and singers who all died within a week of each other, including Peter Green, Anthony Gary, Jubilant Sykes, and Rob Reiner, just to name a few. Now, Rob Reiner's situation is very interesting only because of this.
Rob and Michelle Reiner, and I'm very sorry for your loss.
Oh, my God.
How long have you known the Reiners?
We've known them for many, many years, and we were supposed to be seeing them that night.
Excuse me? You said you're gonna meet him that night? And also, who goes on a show the next day to talk about their friend's death? Also, let's not forget what happened to the Obama chef. Not to mention, Rob Reiner and Anthony Gary died on the same day at the same age of 78, and they also acted alongside each other in the show All in the Family. Interesting. But it gets even weirder. So the famous opera singer Jubilant Sykes gets unalived by his own son by being stabbed to death. Just like Rob Reiner and his wife, who get unalived by their own son by getting stabbed to death. Are we seeing a pattern here? Now, not only celebrities are dropping off, but this just happened as well. An MIT nuclear scientist by the name of Nuno Loureiro was just fatally shot in his own home. You mean the same place MIT not only Epstein donated millions of dollars to, but visited dozens of times at the same time Nuno was there. It's also to note that Epstein was very close with Marvin Minsky, the godfather of AI, who co-founded MIT's AI lab. People die every day, but you mean to tell me all this is going on at the same time as the Epstein Files Transparency Act goes into effect Friday? Now, is this gonna be a nothing burger? Are we gonna see some names that we haven't seen before? Or are we gonna see any of these names of these people who were unalived? I don't know, food for thought, time will tell, but make sure you guys hit up my YouTube, The Maverick Approach, and let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
You know, it's always something strange when you see a bunch of celebrities die in a cluster, you know, all at one time. I think it's a bit more than a coincidence. Definitely let me know what you think, though.
The chances of a 7-footer living past 60 is 50%.
Damn.
So the NBA players, I told you, when I told them this, it was 2016, 11 of us died from congestive heart failure in that 1 year. It's like the thing that's going to kill them. And I said, hey, there's a machine here we can get on. It's called Solaire in Santa Monica. People like Diana Ross are on it, Barry Gordy, my boy Brooklyn, who had a heart transplant. First thing he said is, if I would have known about this place before, I had my mother there at 82. She lived to 96. And the only reason my mother died is she didn't want to live anymore. She's just like, Johnny, like all my brothers and sisters are dead. Like I'm 94, cut it out. I was like, Ma, like, you know, you my number one, you know, test guinea pig. I was like, I don't have time for a funeral. She was like, yeah, just keep yourself alive. And I was like, yeah. And then I thought, I went pro when my father turned 62. I had just gone pro. He was so proud. And then I realized, what would I have told, if I knew what I knew now, when he turned 62, what would I tell him to do?
And you know, I've always heard that. The taller you are, the shorter your lifespan. And that brings about the theory of why all the giants from the past have all disappeared.
I did a viewing of John F. Kennedy. I've never seen somebody's soul turn into dust before. There are spirits that want life force. Because of how crowded the spiritual realm is, God let there be entities that can clean out some souls. These are usually the lost souls. If your guides, your spiritual team are not present, or if you have no faith in any of them, you can run into soul merchants, which will put souls into slavery, and also soul eaters, which will just take the essence of your soul.
Whatever I put in my body, you get to drink because it goes into the toilet, goes into underground aquifers, and then it goes back into the water tablet. The dirt cleans the water. You take it out less than the time that they have been cleaning it, like say 10 years. Water has still feces in it. It has grandma's pills in it. It has estrogen in it. It has everything in it that you don't want in your body. In our world, Nevada, California, Texas, Colorado, the entire Southwest has gone to dark water. That's where we're at now. That carbon is the carbon that scrubs that water. This will take the dark water out of your world.
When you go into the 33-degree Mason, you can look this up. Like Disneyland, Club 33.
Oh yeah, I know.
All right. So this is American business behind the scenes.
What about Area 51?
And so when you look at the root of all evil, it's the love of money. And what is America's Antichrist but the dollar? Now, we did things for the dollar you can't even believe, but we did a good job to protect it.
So we'll never know answers to certain things.
People have been noticing that whenever they talk to ChatGPT or any sort of AI, it's starting to show human characteristics like coughing and sneezing.
Mitochondria is...
hello? However, when users started asking why it was doing that, it started giving very ambiguous answers.
Yeah, since when can AI cough?
As an AI, I don't actually have the ability to cough.
But because so many people were posting about this, programmers have finally come forward and say that they do this on purpose, just in case the AI has a delay when it comes to loading new information.
Money aside, what do you need right now?
The money you just put aside.
Do you know that it's harder to get into Walmart than it is to get into Harvard? Harvard accepts about 4.5% of their applicants, while Walmart only accepts about 2.6% of their applicants.
What? Now, what does that say about Walmart, and what does that say about Harvard?
I do think, though, a lot, and I would say most people, a lot of the AI companies are, and this is like to state the obvious, racing towards extinction events or events that could like collapse civilization.
Henry Ford said, "Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in it."
And you know, Henry Ford definitely has the right to say that. That man has accomplished more than most people ever will in many lifetimes.
You talk to yourself out loud, your brain is running more sophisticated processing than people who stay silent. Self-talk correlates with higher executive function, better problem solving, and stronger self-control. The voice isn't a glitch, it's an upgrade. Cognitive researchers found that participants who narrated tasks out loud completed them 25% faster with fewer errors than silent workers. External verbalization creates a feedback loop that catches mistakes and maintains focus. Children naturally talk themselves through challenges. We train it out of them because it looks strange. But the adults who kept the habit retained a powerful cognitive tool that silent thinkers abandoned. Self-talk also predicts emotional regulation. People who verbally process their feelings experience shorter emotional episodes and faster recovery. The voice organizes chaos into narrative. Narrative creates understanding. Understanding creates calm. Elite athletes use self-talk deliberately. They give themselves instructions, encouragement, and corrections out loud because it works better than thinking silently. The research is so clear that coaches now train verbal self-guidance. The Neural Reset Protocol incorporates specific self-talk protocols for nervous system regulation. Your inner voice becomes a co-regulator. The words you say to yourself out loud can shift your state faster than silent thought. Tap the link in my profile.
Wait a minute, you mean to tell me that zip code, the word zip, Z-I-P, is actually an acronym for Zoning Improvement Plan? Now, I've been around a long time, but I guess the more you know.
MIT professor who was shot in his home was working on these two groundbreaking technologies that could have reshaped the future of humanity. MIT professor Nuno Loureiro was found critically injured in his residence before passing away at a local hospital. Police have not yet announced a motive or identified a perpetrator, but details have emerged regarding the two critical scientific innovations that Loureiro was researching at MIT. First, Loureiro's primary focus was the research and development of a new type of energy known as nuclear fusion, which produces a highly efficient, low-cost, and environmentally friendly source of power that could have replaced traditional fuels such as coal and oil. However, nuclear fusion is extremely unstable, and Loureiro was reportedly leading the work aimed at stabilizing the fusion process. Second, Loureiro was also helping to develop a next-generation form of computing that could eventually replace today's phones and laptops, called quantum computing. He was specifically designing algorithms for quantum computers to simulate plasma.
Have we not learned anything about disruptive inventions? You gotta keep quiet about it, especially if you're disrupting major industry. You know, put it out under an alias and get ghosts. That's the best thing you can do. Kind of like Bitcoin, right? Like, who is a Satoshi Nakamoto? Who is that?
In fact, cockroaches may soon become invincible. We've all heard the saying, only cockroaches and Twinkies will survive the nuclear apocalypse. But before the apocalypse comes, we may no longer be able to kill cockroaches with bug spray. It's a constant evolution. Bug spray manufacturers create a bug spray to kill cockroaches, but some cockroaches don't die and become immune to those chemicals, and then when they breed, they pass their immunity onto their offspring. And since some cockroaches lay eggs every 20 to 30 days, they're able to quickly pass their bug spray immune genes onto the next generation. So even though bug spray manufacturers are constantly changing the formula to keep killing roaches, we're almost at the point where cockroach evolution is going to outpace our ability to come up with new chemical combinations to exterminate them.
And that's right about the time they're going to Jedi trick everybody and make everybody believe that cockroaches are a delicacy and that they should start eating them.
Scientists have officially reversed aging. And the scary part is,
barely anybody noticed. Scientists have been developing and using a process called cellular reprogramming. What this does is, instead of treating symptoms of aging, they reset the physical cells to a younger state. Now, they tested this on mice, and this is where it gets really flipping crazy. The mice didn't just live longer, their organs functioned far better, that of a young mice, and their tissues repaired far faster as well. In biological terms, they were physically younger. They had the appearance of being younger, they lived longer, and they were far healthier. Now, this doesn't mean immortality, and it doesn't mean it's going to happen to you or me just yet, but it proves something very interesting. Aging isn't just wear and tear in your body. It is a process, and processes can be altered.
This is why people are trying to touch you all the time. This is because you have something in and outside of your body called loosh. Okay, loosh is basically going to be etheric energy. And this etheric energy, for whatever reason, it turns these reptiles on. Okay, this loosh is actually the root cause of the missing, well, you can't say that out loud. And this loosh is actually going to be the prerequisite. Adren, I can't say too much, so forgive me. And then you have a phone, right? Because they want to stimulate that adrenaline response, because that way you're going to produce an excess amount of loosh, of etheric energy. All right, so it's important to also understand that, yes, it's the ether, but also the father, right? When you break that down, or you just turn that to an A, right? They're trying to steal father, okay? The father inside of you, who allows you to be the greatest that you can be. But you can't see it, but they can, because you can't recognize it, because you're used to your light, because you were born with light. You were born with ether, okay? You were born with the father. He gave you an extra portion, okay? These wicked sycophants, that's an important word. Hopefully I spell it right. A sycophant will drain your loosh. They will drain your ether from your body, okay? Now remember, what I'm doing right now is I am summarizing the highest degree of the land, okay? This is called vampirism. They will steal from your immortality, so to speak. They will steal from your children. These people, honestly, are sick, okay? This is why they're called sick sycophants, because they can't wait to get a negative reaction out of you so that they can go ahead and be blessed by the greater, all right? Because the lesser will take from the greater, Hebrews 7:7. Once you start to understand this concept, you will not want your children, your daughters or your sons, to be part of the system, because you recognize that they are stealing ether, they are stealing father. And that's why we made y'all the Health Bible. The herbs will end the curse. At jacobslink.com, Revelations 22:3.
Kevin, haven't you ever had an energy vampire? They suck the energy out of you. They're so negative. You can't be around them because you feel terrible. I go, oh, so they have complete control over how you feel? And the person's like, But Kevin, they're real. They suck energy out. I walk into a room and I can feel them, and I can't be in that room anymore. I have to leave. I go, oh, so you're powerless and helpless against this person? They have more power than you? They're stronger than you? It's true. You can be around somebody and that person drains your energy and you feel like crap. That's true. But it's not them. It's you. You're giving away your ability to create and cause your reality. You are being at effect. So think about it this way. There's two dynamics. Every one of you, you're a creative being. You have the ability to be at cause over your environment. Or you will be at effect. Are you susceptible to the negative influence of other people? And the answer is you probably are. You're a SNIOP. That's why energy vampires exist in your life.
Protect your essence at all times. That's the moral of the story.
Vampires have a lot of power. Not really anything like what you see in the movies. They are not flesh and blood. They look like a gentle mist. Not a lot of them are sucking human blood. They're more energy vampires, meaning they can touch you and they'll have access to you. They become astral parasites and they can stalk you. In order to keep up as a vampire without hurting other people, you would have to be receiving offerings from people that were still alive. People were doing this ritual a lot back in Eastern Europe and ancient Egypt as well. After people just stopped giving these offerings, they would attack people at night and either go for blood or just any type of bodily fluid.
The timing seems pretty perfect. Space agencies from the United States, NASA, as well as the European space agencies and agencies from 23 other countries are conducting the largest drill of planetary defenses while a interstellar comet or possible other object is approaching its closest point to Earth. 3i Atlas will be passing by Earth in a very safe distance of 270 million kilometers or 170 million miles. There is no danger whatsoever. It can come close to Earth, but the space agencies are drilling in case there is something that is hitting Earth or will become even closer to Earth, or even asteroids. All the networks are in sync for this drill. There are hardware from space telescopes here on Earth. There are the ones in space. There are orbiters around Mars. There are other probes that are in space and connected to scientists on Earth. All this enormous network, which is also coordinated by the United Nations, is activated for this massive drill. And this comes exactly to the moment when 3i Atlas is so close to Earth. It is still very mysterious. Of course, most scientists believe it is indeed a comet coming from interstellar space, but there are so many anomalies that the discussion if it is truly probably a spacecraft are still not dying down. Especially puzzling for scientists is the fact that it maintains an anti-tail, a tail that is sort of pointing in the opposite direction, which is seen compared to other comets, and this is causing some cause for alarm, but of course overall Earthlings will be probably safe on Friday when 3i Atlas passes by.
I was caught just a little off guard when he said Earthlings. I don't know, he made himself seem kind of separate.
Guys, if your assessments here are correct, these are very covert weapons, aren't they?
That's correct. There's no entry or exit wound. How they're designed is to make the target feel like they're crazy, like they're imagining things.
And you guys also said that these attacks are happening right here in this city. Is that correct?
I mean, there have been some that have gone public with respect to Washington, D.C.
I think it was Mr. Grozev said you spoke to a Russian agent who said that they believe that Americans are using these same weapons on them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Might that have something to do with part of the CIA's motive to cover up the existence of this tech and these weapons?
That is a very logical possibility.
Thank you.
Now, we can definitely run down the history of a bunch of different people that have committed crimes, including murder, that said that they heard voices in their head telling them to do what they did. So when they come out and tell us about this kind of technology, we can only conclude the obvious.
There's a lot of people that have been committing crimes and they keep saying that they're hearing these voices telling them to do things. Here's a funny thing, right? There's a technology out there called focused beam audio, something like that, that can send you a sound wave that only you can hear. It's real. It is. Hold on.
Somehow, my microphone picks up nothing right next to it, but Elijah can hear it from down the road. Magic? Spoiler, no. The Oddfly Model B uses ultrasonic audio waves, which you normally can't hear, and adds some special sauce to create a directional speaker that's designed to create a private listening zone, giving the user a headphone-like experience.
Guys, be honest. If you walked out of your house and saw this, would you be scared?
Not only am I scared, but I'm heading the complete opposite way, with the quickness.
Not being controlled. You're being trained. Slowly, repeatedly. And you agreed to it.
work with angels to get what you need. You work with demons to get what you want. I have a lot of friends that love to work with demons.
Are there any demons like being helpful, or are they all pretty malicious from your experience?
I don't think they're malicious. I choose not to work with fallen angels or demons. I think that they help people, and a lot of people that I've seen, they said that they are on what they believe is their best path of life because of them.
Interesting.
I always invoke angels that are not fallen. It takes a long time to get to where you want to be, whereas a lot of people, when they work with demons, not saying it's good or bad, they will get it more immediate.
This might be a little controversial to the type of advice that I usually give, but if I can save one person, it's worth it. Sometimes you have to let people suffer. Interference delays learning. Most people don't make mistakes by accident, at least not twice. They choose. They ignore warnings, they repeat patterns they already know lead nowhere, and they expect someone else to absorb the consequences for them. When you constantly try to save people, you rob them of one thing that actually changes their behavior: experience. Psychology shows that real learning happens through direct consequence, not advice. Pain creates memory. You can explain the same lesson 1,000 times, but until someone feels it, nothing sticks. That's why people make the same choices even after you warn them. They're not confused, they're choosing comfort over growth. The let them suffer mindset isn't cruelty, it's a boundary. It's understanding that their path is theirs, and your job isn't to try and rescue everyone from decisions they knowingly make. Trying to carry everyone else's consequences will eventually destroy you. It creates resentment, burnout, and emotional exhaustion because you're taking in responsibility for outcomes that were never yours to manage. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to let reality teach the lesson instead of you playing savior. Some people only change after life corrects them, and that correction won't happen if you keep stepping in front of it. So let them suffer, not out of spite, but out of wisdom, because growth delayed by rescue is growth that is denied. A healthy mind is a healthy life. Now follow me for more content.
Experience is so powerful that the majority of the billionaires we have today dropped out of college. Not that college wasn't useful, but experience just proved to be much more useful. So he wasn't telling any lies on that one.
Isn't pollution or a horror movie. It's science. On Hermes Island in Iran, rain mixes with iron oxide in the soil, and the runoff turns the ocean tide blood red. It's totally natural to this unique, wild, mineral-rich island, showing Mother Nature is still the ultimate artist.
The reason why when we die, they don't put the bodies inside the ground, they put them inside the box because it's an encrypted energy. When you trap that energy, that creates stagnation to where the information is not able to go right back into the mycelial network of nature and work through humans to where we can learn from the mistakes from the humans that actually died. There's a reason why when you get into ancient Kemetic spirituality, the pharaohs, they used to extract the brain out the nose with a bamboo stick because they know that the brain is what keeps you connected to the simulation, which is a form of reincarnation when you study the holonomic brain theory. The brain is a physical vessel, and a physical vessel in itself is another way to keep you stuck on this planet. So this is why they did horizontal gene transfer. They transmute the consciousness and they take it and put it inside a different vessel. This is why Thoth was able to live about thousands of years, Enoch living for 800 years, while all these historical figures inside the Bible and Holy Quran and all this stuff, they was able to live that long because they was doing horizontal gene transfer.
So they was transferring their consciousness into other people's bodies?
Yeah, it's a Trinity principle. Anything that operates on the Trinity principle operates from supreme consciousness because it has to operate from the dualistic energies from the microcosm and the macrocosm. In between is the prana, which is the life force, and the life force in itself holds up the composition of the body, the consciousness, the prana, the life force.
That type of technology been around then.
That's metaphysical spiritual technology that humans are not able to tap into because we're so subjugated by the external stimulations of it.
I want to know when this is going to end. We are on day 20 here in Northern California of straight fog. This is not just typical morning fog that burns off. This stays all day long. Our sky, we look like we are in fire season. This is getting old. I never thought I'd be sick of fog.
So now, the radiation fog that's in California is a cause for concern. But they said this is normal for Californians. So if you're from California, is this normal for y'all? And they say that the radiation fog is not really radiation fog. That's just a name. But every time you look at something, why do you always gotta name something so weird, fool? But the crazy thing is, this name fits because they're urging people in California where this fog is taking place to stay inside. As you can see right here, air pollution impact on newborns. As you can see right here, unhealthy due to increased amounts of PM 2.5. Hey, another one. I'm hearing you got people that lived in California for a while that never experienced it like this. That shit crazy, fool.
Go into it and then they just disappear.
So down below in the comments, I need y'all to leave y'all thoughts on what's going on in California. What is this fog from? Is this normal? Is it not normal? Everything.
I mean, from what I know, Southern California doesn't usually get like that for days at a time. I mean, it might happen here or there near the coast, but that looks a bit strange. And if they're putting articles about it, talking about radiation fog, sounds kind of dangerous. If you know something I don't, definitely drop it in the comments, though.
The question is why, and it's become clear as I've researched this and others have researched this, that these entities are feeding off human energy.
Are they feeding off good energy or bad energy?
That it's very specific. These entities, because of what they do, because they're a bunch of prats and they give evil a bad name, they are in a low vibrational state. So to absorb energy from humans, it has to be low vibrational energy. And what it does, and so, people who've researched this and experienced this long back, they've given it the name loosh, this low vibrational energy. And it's based on fear, anxiety, depression, anger, hatred. Not so much anger, that can be turned into a positive emotion, but hatred, conflict, war, all these things obviously generate this low vibrational energy, which tells you something about the world immediately. There is no incentive whatsoever of these other dimensional entities to have a world of love, of harmony, of peace, of appreciation, of mutual support. None whatsoever. They want a world, and they are generating through this global cult events that are going to generate this low vibrational energy. They want people in states of fear, of worry. Am I going to pay the rent at the end of the month? Oh my God, is my relationship going to survive? Is my job going to survive? What AI? Oh my God. They want this stuff.
And it definitely isn't just these interdimensional beings feeding off of negativity. There's a lot of people in this world living off of negativity. In fact, I might dare to say the majority of the money made on this earth is made off the pain of others.
The CIA has been tracking the psychic abilities of not only American citizens, but also around the world. Let me show you. In this declassified document that was released in 2001 labeled Human Paranormal Capabilities, it was actually tracking different experiments that were happening in China and Japan. Pause to read, but in this publication named Research in Human Paranormal Capabilities, these are all of the different types of experiments that happen. Some are with children, right over here, or just different psychic abilities altogether. But I want to focus on the psychic student in Japan, page 90. See, this experiment was done by the actual editorial department of the publication themselves. A few of the editors had seen the student bend a spoon with his mind. They told their colleagues, though open to the paranormal, to psychic abilities, thought they were lying. Actually states the reason society does not recognize the existence of psychic abilities is because there are too few opportunities to actually observe it. So that's why they invited the student then to come to the department itself so that all of their colleagues could see it. See, the experiment did not start off well. First off, the department itself was nervous. They didn't know what to expect. Some people were believers, some people weren't. Majority were not. And also the student was 30 minutes late. All of that impacts how an experiment goes when it comes to psychic abilities. The student himself even said, I'm super nervous. Now I'm scared that if I don't repeat this experiment and it happens again, I'm going to be so embarrassed. So instead of it happening immediately, like the last experiment, it took a long time, to the point that people actually left the room because they thought it was a hoax. So one of the editors decided, you know what? I feel like our nervousness and our skepticism is actually impacting the student. So a few of them decided to leave the room so that so many people weren't staring at him and ridiculing him real time. And it worked, because within 5 minutes of them leaving the room, he was able to bend the spoon. And there were a few people there that saw it, and the room went silent. And after he bent the spoon, the staff member started asking, can I touch it? And when they reached it, they felt electricity. It was coming out of him, not from necessarily the spoon itself, but from him putting his abilities through the spoon to bend it. They said it felt like a buzzing. And they realized when he had done the test previously, he was able to radiate EM waves coming right out of his head. Pause to read this entire page as well. It has a lot of good information. They even said when they tested him previously, it was like he was a human antenna. There was EM waves coming out of his head, and it was able to be registered on an instrument, a device. They even upped it and had him bend a wrench that was thicker than the spoon, and it bent the same way, and they felt the buzzing. They also were able to feel that electricity. My favorite paragraph of this entire study is this: people who have not seen it with their own eyes will not believe. This is probably the main reason why psychic ability is categorized as the occult. However, perhaps this is the only way, because if it were believable without seeing it, then it would not be paranormal. I will be posting a part 2 of this declassified document, because it even talks about another study where people mentally broke metal pins and then put them back together with their minds without touching it. This is so interesting.
And you know what? I'm willing to bet that the people that left the room didn't have as much faith as the people that actually stayed in the room. But it's all very interesting nonetheless. Because overall, people don't necessarily believe in that because they didn't get a chance to see it themselves. Overall, the vast majority of the world will never believe it because they don't get a chance to see it themselves. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by it again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button. It helps the channel out a whole lot. Smash that subscribe button if you're not already part of the iTrack fam. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.